Ну что, поехали.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, which is coming out 1 week from now on October the 31st. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Hive-born crawler pet by following the instructions below. Without further ado, let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame.
We, the Keepers of the Flame, serve the will of the Dreamer. His instructions whispered from beyond the wall of sleep. But now, the Hiveborn are here, on Rayclast, and they seek to poison our world.
Ух ты.
We must close their breaches, destroy their hives, slay their breach lords.
Вот так модельки переделали. Ух ты.
And by his gifts, the Dreamer provides.
О,
They brought
кайф.
this war to our world, but we shall end it, whatever it takes.
Лоу. О, найс, найс. Ладно, это очень круто. Это очень круто. Вау. Окей, вообще выглядит не так, как я ждал. Круто.
As you can see,
Круто.
this expansion is a true sequel to the Breach League, first introduced to the game in 2016. We felt like it was time to progress the story of Breach, bringing with it a slew of new updates to the base game. In today's stream, we'll take you on a deep dive into Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, beginning with the
Красиво.
lig-mechanic, covering all the fearsome challenges it presents, and the new twisted ways you'll be able to empower your character. After that, we'll dive into the new ascendancy options possible with Bloodline classes. Then we'll cover the much anticipated and synchronous trade system coming to Path of Exile 1. Afterwards, move into the new Uber Pinnacle bosses, how to access them, and some new drops.
Очень интересно.
Finally, we'll cover some notable quality of life improvements before moving on to our supporter packs and challenge rewards. A
Вау.
live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile's game directors Mark and myself your questions from Twitch chat. And after the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes at 11 AM New Zealand time or 3 PM Pacific.
Вау.
So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Breach is a beloved league that has had an iconic history in PoE.
Факт.
We intend to honor that legacy with our first ever sequel league, Keepers of the Flame. This develops every aspect of Breach, adding new layers to discover, richer lore, scarier bosses, and entirely new mechanics. That said, this is still Breach, so you will still be opening breaches and slaying hordes of otherworldly monsters. The Breach Lords have found the means to stabilize.
Вот очень интересно, что с Бричлордами и Бричстоунами.
Now, with their grip tightening, we learn their true goal in our world: conquest. The threat they pose has now escalated to home soil. On the coast in Act 1,
Ну-ка.
you'll encounter Aelith, the founder of the Keepers.
Это моделька чародейки из PoE.
This is a monastic order sworn to defend
Вижу её.
the Breach Lords. The exit to the Mudflats has been barricaded by Hiveborn, breach monsters that are working to claim every inch of Rayclast.
Вау.
Aelith can grant you a small spark of the power of the Flame, allowing you to blast away their barricade and move onwards.
Интересно.
Once you enter the Mudflats, you'll find it infested with
Wow.
breach monsters. They appear to be constructing a kind of
Вау.
hive, creating strange shapes and structures that absolutely don't belong. Time to purge them with fire. Aelith needs you to protect her as she empowers the flame to do so. Hold off the assault long enough, and she'll be able to demolish the hive with cleansing flame.
Гнись, пожалуйста. Окей, найс.
In other areas, the gap between worlds is strained. Here, you'll find a more familiar encounter with a new twist. A massive breach hand sunders the space between dimensions, and touching it will open an unstable breach, causing monsters to flood in. If you can slaughter them quickly enough, you can stabilize the breach. This brazen action can draw the attention of Vroon,
Ух ты!
who will do everything
Вау,
he can to
вау, 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 круто.
Defeating this boss will permanently seal the breach.
Круто.
Severing another connection between the Breach Lord's world and Rayclast.
Marshall
These
Obsessed.
stabilized breaches are similar to what a breach once was, but with upgraded monsters, a success condition to shoot for, UI tracking to keep the player informed of their progress through the encounter, and satisfying feedback when you do manage to complete the encounter. We've taken all the lessons we've learned since the release of Breach 9 years ago and improved upon it in every way we can.
Неплохо.
However, much of the joy of Breach came from its simplicity. While we want to modernize the mechanic, we don't want to undermine the core experience. You're still mostly just slaughtering hordes of enemies in a circle. Finally, in endgame areas you might run into breach constructions that have been left unopposed for too long.
Прикольно
They've
выглядит.
grown into their full twisted glory. Breach hives. Towering
ты.
flesh-crafted cities in the sky.
Глубина
These are
бездны.
the visions of the Breach Lords made real in Rayclast.
Босс-файты?
Teeming with breach monsters.
Не, как глубина бездна.
You
Кайф,
must
кайф.
raid and destroy these cities with the help of Aelith and her flame.
Кайф.
In some of these hives, you may even encounter some of the Breach Lords
Ух
themselves,
ты!
who will not be
Прикольно.
happy you're intruding on their planned conquest. Now, let's
That was
talk
too-
loot. Of course, being in exile is hard work, and you're unlikely to help entirely out of the goodness of your heart. Fortunately, Aelith has power and rewards aplenty, born of the Breach Realm itself, to offer you for your assistance. Help her, and she'll bring you to the Monastery of the Keepers, the hallowed halls of her order. Here, you'll find the Genesis Tree, the growing heart of the Keeper's power. On interacting with it, you'll find that this tree has a tree. That's right. It couldn't be Path of Exile unless the
Probably.
tree also had a tree. More importantly, the Genesis tree is an engine of unholy creation, and a profitable one. As you complete breach
Интересно, что за
encounters
соки
and
там?
work more with Aelith, you'll be able to grow the Genesis tree
Кайф.
larger and larger, sprouting additional limbs. Each of these limbs, you'll notice, has their own inventories. These can be used for an unusual method of crafting new items.
Интересно.
With this system, you'll be able to grow currency, uniques,
Mm.
equipment, and a new kind of otherworldly item, grafts. Grafts are breach hands grown directly from the Genesis tree.
Так вот, что это было
Born of
в
the same
тизере.
flesh and sinew as the invading monsters. These fuse directly to your body in a completely safe process. Don't worry about it. With grafts, you can harness the power of the breach. Some provide passive benefits like this, or this.
Ух ты. Ух ты, ух ты, ух ты.
They can also
Прикольно.
grant a wide selection of powerful skills.
Прикольно.
These graft skills can provide a flexible way to fill gaps in your build,
Прикольно, прикольно.
offering everything from damage to potent defensive buffs and crowd
Это
control.
будет фаново. Это будет фаново. И крафтить, и играть.
For
Кайф.
example, the battering all graft will call massive arms to erupt from the earth, stunning all those they hit.
Сколько?
For some additional pack clearing,
Сколько, сколько?
consider the
Он не
Scorpion's
скелется?
graft. When commanded, this graft will cast Dance in the White, creating a deadly ice tornado, which aggressively seeks enemies and fires off bursts of ricocheting projectiles when you critically strike with skills. For some
Прикольно.
further utility and a useful buff, try out the Storming Ash graft.
Прикольно.
This can be commanded to call down a ring of bolts from the sky that will leave behind the new
Будет очень прикольно.
Radiant Ground grants a potent damage buff to allies standing within it and makes their hit damage lucky. If you're simply after raw damage, look no further than the erupting Zothgraft, which causes massive eruptions of fire where you command, which then re-erupt when you warcry. There are a total of 16 different graph types you can grow.
16
each with
разных.
their own skill. You can
Прикольно.
even unlock a second graph slot as you progress through Aelith's questline. So feel
Okay.
free to mix and match Flesh Zone horrors to your heart's content. Now, graphs aren't just here to make you stronger. They are also your means of feeding the Genesis tree, which needs constant supplies of graph blood to grow anything useful. You can
Как
do this
ресурс?
by defeating breach monsters, which will leave behind blood that your graft will automatically collect. When you feed this blood to the tree, your allocated passives will be put to work. This section of the Genesis tree can be used to grow new grafts for you, which the Genesis tree will then birth in a gruesome display.
Интересно. Интересно.
Basic passives on the tree might increase item rarity of birthed grafts, or the chance to birth additional grafts. These passives can target specific types of grafts,
Прикольно.
and this passive causes grafts to be birthed with a random amount of quality. Quality improves the amount of blood that can be stored by your grafts. This section of the Genesis tree births currency items. Basic passives can result in more or better currency. Allocate this passive to sometimes cause a shower of currency to burst forth from the flesh of the tree. Yeah, it's a bit gross, but working with the organic matter of a bunch of dead otherworldly creatures was never going to be a clean affair. Grafts themselves are born of a different world, so are unmodifiable by most currencies. However,
Прикольно.
with this passive,
Pure RNG.
the Genesis tree can occasionally grow fleshy mockeries of currency orbs. These function like augmentation orbs, regal
Всё-таки не
orbs,
pure
or
RNG.
exalted orbs, but they work on your grafts instead of normal gear. Yep, it's graft crafting. Allocating this passive can result in foul-born currencies. This foul-born exalted orb, for instance, behaves as a normal exalted orb, except it guarantees a higher tier modifier. By locking out a large portion of the lower rolls, a normal exalted orb would be able to
Прикольно.
hit. The largest section of the Genesis tree is used
Фишки из
for
PoE 2.
rare equipment items. For these, you have a lot of agency to influence the type and modifiers on your grown item. For example, you can specifically target boots with a dexterity
Ничего себе, какую они
requirement,
крафтовую механику
with
подали
an
вообще.
increased chance for speed modifiers and reduced chance for cold modifiers.
Главную фишку PoE обыгрывает.
Or maybe you'd prefer to look for a two-handed axe with increased chance for physical modifiers. This section of the tree is for growing unique items. Similar to the equipment section, there are passives that let you target growing specific types of uniques or rarer uniques. The process of growth is not always a perfect one, however, and can result in some defects. This passive can result in birth
люблю
uniques
такое.
becoming foul-born, which mutates one
Хочу
of the
узнать, что это.
existing
Кайф.
modifiers on the item into a new one, resulting in some interesting new ways to use that unique. For example, this foul-born quill rain no longer has increased projectile speed, but instead has increased area of effect.
Прикольно.
Foul-born
Прикольно,
quill rain
прикольно.
replace the mana gained on hit with the much more powerful modifier
Кайф.
where
Я такого очень люблю.
mana doesn't prevent your bow attacks. Here are some other examples.
Ух ты. Ух ты, ух ты, ух ты, ух ты, класс.
This passive even gives a rare chance for foul-born uniques to have multiple different modifiers mutated.
Это очень круто.
I'm sure you'll come up with some extremely powerful uses for these. We'll leave it up to you to discover what this mysterious part of the Genesis tree can grow.
Прикольно.
So, ultimately, you'll be slaying masses of breach monsters, harvesting blood with the aid of your grafts, feeding that to the Genesis tree, growing some items
Кайф,
and better
очень круто.
plants, and back again
Мне
to
нравится,
the
как развили брич.
As with all our
Мне интересно, что с
trees,
бричстоунами
this
все
level
еще.
will come with a set of 40
Они
challenges
исчезли?
to pursue,
Они есть?
and completing them will award you with the Keeper of the Flame armor set, allowing you to truly embrace becoming a monk and worshipping the Dreamer. Now, graph skills won't be the only new tools to play
Тоже
with.
интересно.
In 327, we're also adding a collection of new skill and
Этого я очень ждал тоже давно уже.
Let's go over them now.
Ну-ка.
Kinetic Rain is a new wand attack, which covers the ground in unstable
Вау.
kinetic energy.
Красиво, красиво. Кайф. Кайф, кайф, кайф.
Releasing their energies into any unfortunate soul who happens to
Вкусно
be
выглядит
standing
очень.
in. With enough projectiles and area of effect,
Я бы таким поиграл.
an enterprising exile could carpet the world in dangerous kinetic force. Wall of Force creates a barrier of kinetic power, causing allied projectiles to ricochet towards targets automatically.
Интересно.
Drop one behind a boss and
Прикольно.
redirect the bolts of your armies.
Прикольно.
I'm sure you'll find ways to break this one. Conflagration is a new bow attack, which rains down fiery bolts from above that stick into the ground and pulse as you approach. Once you get close enough, these bolts detonate, causing ravaging ignites.
Норм.
These bolts chain react, allowing you to create fields of incendiary destruction.
Это не прям по мне.
Thunderstorm is a bow attack, which creates a whirling storm of wind and lightning.
Прикольно, прикольно.
While you're within the storm,
Прикольно.
it will rapidly grow until it becomes violently
Привет,
thunderous
Твистер из
with
PoE 2, но
fused clouds.
в другом обличии. Прикольно.
At this point, leaving the storm will cause it to detonate.
Блин, классно
dealing
выглядит.
damage to everything within,
Вот таким бы
and
поиграл.
releasing a flurry of tornadoes in all directions. Attacking with kinetic
Ух
fusillade.
ты.
hovering
Вау,
orbs
вау,
of
вот
energy.
это мне тоже нравится.
These linger for a few moments above you before zipping off to nearby targets,
Прикольно.
chaining between them, then detonating.
Тоже как в PoE огненная обилка, но
Bring to
прикольно
life
выглядит.
living sparks of
По-другому.
energy. Elemental minions
Ух
that
ты.
zap through packs of enemies with speed and
Ух
ease.
ты.
Use these alongside your
Прикольно.
spellcasting to augment your pack clearing abilities, or find whatever means
Кайф.
possible to cover the world in living sparks of ruin. Windburst support unleashes chaotic tornadoes as you attack, which ricochet around wildly and quickly. These deal moderate damage as they travel, but will explode into a highly damaging burst when they expire. So it's a choice between scaling their duration up to get better coverage, or down to access the burst more quickly. Kinetic Instability is a support gem to go along with the new wand attacks that causes enemies slain to leave behind those same orbs of shimmering energy that Kinetic Rain creates. One might ponder just how many orbs you can create if you were to use both. In
Прикольно.
327, exiles will be able to
Вот.
absorb the power
Вот
of
оно,
the
вот это
bosses
интересно
of
очень.
defeat. These take the form of
Что
new
это?
ascendancy class options called Bloodlines. Bloodline classes are a new means of character customization in the endgame. They are
В эндгейме,
secondary
окей.
ascendancy classes that are unlocked
Как во
by
Фликшене было.
specific endgame bosses. They
Ух
are
ты!
unlocked with your normal ascendancy points, and you'll have to choose how many of your points go into the original ascendancy and how many into your bloodline class. This means there is a nigh
Пожалуйста,
limitless
пусть-
ability to mix and match here.
Пусть в каком-то виде это попадет в код, пожалуйста.
Points into your bloodline, or max
Это очень прикольно звучит.
and you could take any bloodline with any base ascendancy class that you see fit.
Это очень прикольно звучит.
To unlock your bloodline, hunt down the endgame boss whose power you desire and defeat them, or have a friend help and claim the power for your own.
Круто. Небольшие
There are
такие
10
ветви.
bloodline classes to discover. Bosses who offer this power are typically associated with past
ты.
leagues, giving additional
Ух
reasons to engage with
ты.
that league content.
Они много боссов сюда добавили. Кайф, кайф.
The Chaos Bloodline will be offered to you by the Trial Master.
Я думал только какие-то основные, но...
Succeed his final challenge. With his blessing,
Прикольно.
greatly augment your Vow skills in different ways. Priest of Yalmak lets you use Vow skills much more often, while Priest of Kopek makes it harder to build up Vow skills, but makes them far more powerful.
Выглядит
Or
круто, конечно.
take Corruption's Embrace, which grants more Vow Keystone powers the more corrupted
Кайф.
items you have equipped. Their sharp
Их делали,
can be gained by, you guessed it, defeating
То
the
Ascendancy, которое тоже было связано с
The
ультиматумом
three types
из
of life
Фрики.
force that manifest within as Marian spirits. The wild bear rewards you with adrenaline for generating rage. The vivid cat gives your elusive buffs a chance to refresh, as well as making you more stealthy while elusive. The primal owl allows your unleashed spells to reoccur many additional times, and get stronger for each time they reoccur. The nameless
Прикольно.
bloodline comes from the king in the mists. Be forewarned, his menacing power comes at a great cost. With the unseen hand, you can equip a third ring.
Натуралист,
But you
привет.
have to decide if that comes at the expense of having no amulet, no belt, or no flasks.
Круто, 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 круто. Прикольно.
One light silhouette
Прикольно.
has a hefty life cost
Вокруг
to
этого
them,
интересно будет строить билд.
but they deal additional chaos damage based on the amount of life spent. Of course, there is more to come. What powers might you glean from delving into
Кайф.
Grey Class to fight all the Crystal King? What secrets can you learn from Lycia, Herald of the Scourge, waiting at the end of the Forbidden Sanctum? As you
Интересно.
can imagine, there are countless possible combinations with the system. You could be a Slayer that embraces corruption and vile power, or perhaps you'll play an occultist that doubles down on their dark power by integrating the nameless bloodline.
Круто.
We are excited to see what crazy and interesting builds players come up with. In the most recent Path of Exile 2 expansion, the Third Edict, we introduced a much anticipated feature, fully asynchronous trade. It was a fantastic success. So now we're excited to announce
Я не пробовал.
also
Я в
the
PoE2
added feature
не играл еще на трейде, играл на SSF.
When you reach Act 6, you'll
Интересно
be
будет
able to
попробовать в
find
этот раз.
Faustus in Lion Eye's Watch. Previously, he just operated the currency exchange. Now, he will also act as a steward for your merchants tabs. These are where you can place items for sale, for direct and instant purchase by other players even when you're not online. To list an item, simply place it in the tab and select a currency and an amount. Once listed,
Что там за
other
замочек
players will
был?
be able to find the item by searching for it via the trade website or the new in-game market search. To purchase something for yourself, it's as easy as hitting this button, which will teleport you to the seller's hideout, where you can view their merchants tabs, buy the item, and also view the rest of their wares in case something else catches your eye. Every purchase costs a small fee of gold, as Faustus takes his cut. To account for this further drain on gold, acquisition
Норм.
and cost balance elsewhere in the game has been adjusted. Anything you've managed to sell successfully,
Интересно.
have your profits collected here, in a separate tab to claim at your leisure. To be clear, previous means of trading, such as via pre-existing premium stash tabs and the website, will still function just as before. Merchants tabs, and the asynchronous trading that comes with them, are an entirely additive feature on top of the already existing methods to trade. You might find yourself needing the trade system to buy some upgrades, because this update also introduces the
Убер-версии
new
воплощений
Uber boss fights.
и секретов Атласа.
Manifested from the memories of Zana.
Интересно,
An
какие уники
area of
добавят.
torment
Очень
that
интересно.
manifested into something truly deadly. These fights offer an imposing
Хочется
challenge alongside
джелов новых
powerful
уникальных.
rewards. In order to gain access, similar to existing Uber Pinnacle fights, you'll need to discover fragments dropped by Tier 17 map bosses. Each attempt at the new Uber Pinnacle fights will require 5 of these. Let's dig into some of the challenges you'll need to face in these new Uber versions. In the original incarnation of Neglect fight, the statues can be used to block the laser beams to hide behind, giving you an opportunity to avoid being shocked, frozen, or killed. When you run near these statues, they activate and allow you to reposition them. While activated, they will not stop the lasers, meaning you want to position them well, then avoid them. However, in the Uber version of this fight, instead of being a safe haven, the statues will refract the laser beams, causing a ruckus of energy to cover the arena. Activating them will prevent the refraction, so unlike the base fight, where you want to position them well and then avoid them, you'll be wanting to constantly keep these statues active. But then, you have to deal with their assault of attacks.
Ничего
While
себе.
fighting the incarnation of fear, these fiery orbs will slowly clutter up the arena, locking off portions of it until you bait the boss into detonating them himself with his thrown spear. When Uberified, these orbs are attached by a flaming leash to the boss,
Жесть
rotating
какая.
around him constantly. more and more will spawn as the fight goes on, making it even more imperative that you clean them up by cleverly using the boss's abilities against him. Normally in the incarnation of Dread fight, during the bullet hell phase, you have to acquire a red rose,
Вот здесь хитбоксы, как было всегда,
collect a blue rose,
какие-то неправильные были.
causing it to get heavy stunned and interrupting its mechanic. In the Uber version, you have to do the same, but in order to get the blue rose, you have to defeat the incarnation of neglect. To get the red rose, you have to defeat the incarnation of fear.
Офигеть.
Good luck.
Прикольно, прикольно.
Given the difficulty of
Прикольно.
their reward should
Прикольный
be
файт с
worth
ним
the
будет.
Let's take a look at some.
Ну-ка. Самое интересное
From
для
the
меня.
Uber incarnation of neglect fight, we have bitter instinct, a spiky shield that turns retaliatory strikes into preemptive ones.
Класс! Вау, 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 класс!
Before the long arm of
Прикольно.
justice crushes your foes.
Прикольно.
Alternatively, you might find
Ух ты,
festering
красиво
resentment,
выглядит.
a poisoned blade with an unending supply of toxins built into the bit. These toxins are put to good
Прикольно.
use, causing every spell
Класс.
you trigger to be capable of poisoning with all damage it deals.
Мне бы что-нибудь сделать
enabling a
таким.
truly crazy trigger-centric poison ruckus. And from the Uber incarnation of Dread, the Hallowed Monarch, a counterpart to the Dark Monarch.
Ух ты!
Focuses more heavily
Хедхантер
on
для миньонов?
one or a
Вау,
few minions,
прикольно!
rather than growing your hordes to massive
Прикольно!
proportions. Storm Rayclast, with your chosen few at your side,
Прикольно.
stealing power from your enemies.
Чем больше думаю об этом, тем больше интереса
Got a
становится.
number of quality of life changes to bring to 327 as well.
Окей, это мы видели, по
Many
идее.
of which you may have seen already in some of our pre-livestream teasers, but for those who haven't, Heist is a mechanic which has long frustrated some players who may otherwise have been interested in the rewards it has to offer, but have no desire to grind through the early progress of finding and running low-level contracts to get all of the rogues to their maximum level. Well, starting in 327, Heist rogues will automatically begin at maximum level. So you can
И как долго у меня камера не
start
работала?
your career without all the busy work. Points invested into your Atlas passive tree will now be refundable with gold.
Надеюсь,
Just
недолго.
speak to Kerak to do so. For players who love jumping between strategies, there's also an option to instantly refund your entire tree, which of course can now also be done with your regular passive tree as well. Now you can make all your decisions with no regrets. Well, maybe some regrets. You no longer need to purchase bestiary orbs. You can now itemize beasts for free directly from your bestiary. From late Act 1, you can now mass identify your items at an NPC in every town, and from Helena in your hideout. This does not require Scrolls of Wisdom at all. While using an Alteration Orb, you can now hold Alt to swap to using an Augmented
Это все мы видели.
if one is available. Opening a Blight Chest will now
Много
open
полезного,
all
много
other Blight
удобного.
chests near it. Rogue's disenchanting services can now be accessed from towns and hideouts. Kerak missions now have a handy icon to show at a glance what kind of mission they are.
Очень удобно
Holding
выглядит.
down control and right-clicking on stacked decks will now continuously open them to your inventory, notifying you in chat what the outcome is. If you still want to open them direct to the ground, to let your loot filter provide a dose of dopamine, you can still do that too by also holding shift. Val orbs can be used on monsters encased in essences, to the same effect that remnants...
Вот это кайф, кстати. Еще и валки подорожают, по идее, из-за этого. Немножко. Или немножко.
When multiple skill gems are ready to level at the same time, you'll now be
Это
able
кайф,
to
конечно.
press this button
То,
to
что
level
блокировать
them all
можно.
up at once. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs. The Champion of
Приятный
Theopolis
сет.
and the Verdant Magus packs. Each
Красиво.
tier contains the
Ух
pack's full
ты.
face value in points,
Вау. Классное убежище.
alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Классное убежище.
As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely
Но
cosmetic.
странно
and do
выглядит.
not affect your character's power or progression in any
Половина быка.
The Champion of Theopolis series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Машина картографа красиво здесь. Красиво. Красиво, красиво.
Open the Champion of Theopolis portal to end
Кайф.
your crusade through maps in the
Вкусно
style
выглядит.
expected of a true victor of the arena.
Простенько довольно и
Defeat your enemies
красиво.
like a true gladiator, wearing the Grand Champion of Theopolis armor set. The armor awarded
Неплохой,
only to
неплохой
the most
сет.
elite warriors of the Grand Arena. Take charge of the situation and storm into combat with the flaming Minotaur's Quicksilver.
Ну, это странно выглядит.
The champion's podium map device rises up to honor
Map
the
device.
glory of achieved
Кайфово.
and activate it.
Ascend the stairs and stand atop the platform as you
Красиво.
enter your maps. Each flame surrounding the platform represents a remaining use on your portal. The burden-back billy goat carries all the supplies necessary for a campsite as he travels behind you in battle. When placed in
Миле.
a hideout, instead of roaming around like your other pets, their supplies are deployed, creating a small camp where you can access your stash and providing a place to take a load off while you rest next to the campfire.
Прикольно.
The Verdant Magus series contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Having Faustus sell your items on your behalf is great and all, but sometimes you just want to feel a little bit more shady about your dealings. The back alley trader hideout decoration is
Прикольно.
more secretive with your trades, creating distance between you and your customers.
Note that until 327 is released, this back alley trader will only serve as your currency exchange. Once it's out, it will be updated to have the new managed shop option to also facilitate your trades.
The
Класс.
Verdant Wayfinder pet is a loyal companion to any Master Magus. As you approach waypoints, it envelops them with its vines, guiding you throughout Rayclast. Control Earth and nature itself, as the
Ух ты.
Great Verdant Magus armor set envelops you in the ancient power now lost to time. There's also a matching back attachment included.
Приятно выглядит.
Remnants of the forest ripple out from within you with the Verdant Magus level up effect equipped, restoring life to the corrupted land. Call on an ancient golem to use their power to create a safe passage for
Прикольно
you to retreat
появляется.
through with the arcane golem.
Прикольно,
portal.
прикольно.
As a supreme Verdant Magus, you can travel to your arcane isle hideout. A cluster of islands held together by ancient magic passed down between elite mages. Stand atop your tower and relish the great heights you've reached above those who have not harnessed the arcane. These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console and will remain so during Path of Exile,
Приятные
Keepers of
сеты.
the Flame.
Прям
Additionally,
приятненькие.
any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Crypt Keeper and Frisian Magistrate packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Keepers of the Flame League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, at 11 AM New Zealand time.
Кайф. Механику переработали вообще классно. Интересно, они не запороли бридж. Я немножко переживал. Единственное, ничего не сказали абсолютно про бриджстоуны. Но я видел самоцвет, который выпадает с чаюлы условно. Поэтому предполагаю, что бриджстоуны никак не тронули. То есть с ними все точно так же, как было, как и работало. Кольца никак не тронули. К сожалению, мне бы хотелось, чтобы... Ну, по крайней мере, не рассказали об этом, да? Может, что-то им меняли, о чем расскажут еще в патчноутах, посмотрим. Подклассы очень интересно посмотреть. У них довольно небольшие ветви прокачки, но все равно интересно посмотреть, что с ними можно будет придумать. Ну, то есть это столько кастомизации добавляет, вообще кайф. Надеюсь, что в каком-то виде это попадет в кор игры. На этом все. У меня камера залагала. Не знаю, когда, надеюсь, не так долго. Но это было здорово. Вау. Я в шоке. Я доволен, я очень доволен. Круто. Круто. Реально круто. Все, всем пока.